Good morning, folks. Chumash and Rashi, the Torah portion, double portion, Mattos Maasei. We are second reading, where we continue. The battle was against Midjan, taking the revenge against Midjan. We continue. Battle was won. Now there's the spoils of war. L'chaim. It is second reading when the portions are together. Yetzu Moshe ve'Elazar, and they went out, Moshe and Elazar, Hakayin, the Kayin, B'chol Nesiya, Ada, and all of the leaders, the chieftains of the congregation of the community, Likrosam, to greet them, El Mechutz Machne, outside of the encampment. Remember, there was 12,000, 1,000 for each tribe that went out to wage the battle. And now, so they're coming back. The troops are coming back. They're coming to greet them. Was not Israel. Why they go out? Let them wait till they come back to the encampment. Why do they have to go out? Because they saw that the Israelite youth were grabbing the spoils of war, right? A Yitzhak Moshe, and Moshe was upset. He was angry. Al Pikude, over the officers Achayal of the army, Sari Alafim, the commanders of thousands, Vasari Meos, and the commanders of hundreds, Haboyim, Mitzvah HaMilchama, that are returning from the campaign of war. Rashi in 14. Shemalevi, you got your booklet? You're following? Oh, you got it. Okay. Good, man. Moshe was angry with the commanders of the legion, meaning those who are appointed over the legion. This is to teach you that any foolishness, corruption, misdemeanor, whatever it is, totally big. It is the leaders who are responsible, because they have the power to protest and to put people into line. So they're responsible. Verse 15. And they said to Moshe, did you allow the females to live? Hein, ine, hayu livnei Israel b'dvar be'elam limsar me'al be'ashem ba'advar pa'or b'tiyam megeva ba'adas Hashem. So they were the same ones. Hayu hein hiena. So these Hayu, they were for the children of Israel, but Dvar Pa'or, Baal Bilam, were involved in the advice of Bilam, that they Limsar Me'al Hashem, that they made the Jewish people to betray God on the matter of Pa'or, the incident of Pa'or, V'tiyam Agef, and there was a result of that, a plague amongst the congregation of Hashem. Rashi. They, Magi, this tells us the Israelites recognize them. They would say, Zuhi, this is the one, Shinichshal Pleniba, that this one had faltered with her. In other words, she was the lady of the night that who the Jewish people faltered with. Dvar Bilam, with the word of Bilam, Omer Lahem, Bilam said to the Midianites, Afilu atem machnisim, even if you gather together, Kol ha-mainais shebailam, all of the multitudes of the world, Einatam yechidim lahem, you're not able to overcome the Israelites. You can't defeat them. You can't defeat the Israelites. Shema meruvi matem mina mitraim, you think you're more numerous than the Egyptians. They came with 600 select chariots. I'll give you advice. The God of the Israelites, saying Azima v'chulu. He hates promiscuity. Kedisa v'chelik, as is in Chilibit Sifri. It's interesting why Rashi is repeating this, because we already learned this in Parshas Balak, this point. But I guess that's what it means in the advice of Bilam. So he's just repeating what he already said. Be interesting to see the Rebbe Sicha on this. I'm sure there is. Mata here go call Zohar B'Tav. So now that kill every male child and every woman that can lie intimately with a man, you shall kill. Right? In other words, those who are intimate. Rashi, every woman who knows a man, that is fit for relations, even though she didn't have. So the tzitz was passed before them, and it's someone who was fit for relations, but their face will be turned yellowish. Hargu, lama chazav. Why is it repeat to say a second time? To pause in the topic. According to Rabbi Shmuel, because if I would read here, go look, all Zachar B'Tav, every male with a young child, called Isha Yoidas Ish, and every woman who knows a man, I'll call Lataf and Ashim, and all the young children among the women you keep alive, and Yodea. I would not know, but call Isha Yoidas, and everyone who knows, Im Zachorim, where they should be killed along with the males, or mataf, or to keep them alive with the young ones. L'kach nemar hargu. That's why it says to at the end the second time. Now 18. Cholataf. Nashim asher lo yadu mishkav zocher achayu lachem. And all the young girls who did not experience intimate relations with a man, you keep them alive. Lachem matem chonu michutz machane. And you should encamp outside the encampment, Shivas Yamim, 7 days. Kol ha'ireg nefesh v'chol negea b'chala, and anybody who had killed anybody, v'chol negea b'chala, or someone who touched a corpse, titzamu, you become impure. B'yayim hashlishi v'yam hashvi atem v'shevichem, and therefore you have to be cleansed on the 3rd and the 7th day, both you and your captives.
Well, this is basically transferred to today, in a sense. If we come in contact with the dead, we have to.
No, because we don't have the paraduma. We don't have the red heifer today.
We don't have the red.
Right. Yet
if we go to a cemetery or if we go to a funeral,
you wash your hands.
we have to wash.
Just our hands, but you're still impure from, Beis Hamikdash.
Like
if the Beis Hamikdash is built today, you can't go in there because you're not pure. That's why you can't on Harabayas on Temple Mount. That's why that's why you shouldn't go on Temple Mount today, because if you're impure and you're going on Temple Mount, it's a severe consequence from heaven. Okay, 19. Outside the encampment, you shouldn't enter the courtyard, Temple Mount, right? Anybody who killed a person, Rabbi Meir. This verse is speaking about one who kills with something that can receive impurity. This verse comes to teach us that an implement that you use that kills somebody, like a sword or whatever, right? That makes a person impure. Because it connects to the corpse that the person killed. It's as if you touched the person himself. Right. In other words, this verse is coming to tell us that you become impure even if you didn't touch the corpse, right? But your implement that you killed the person with touched the corpse, and you were holding on to it like a sword, right? Or maybe it doesn't mean that you're touching the corpse himself. Or it could be that even if I threw an arrow, and that killed the person, the one who touches a corpse, So there's an equivalence that's put between the two things that are said in this verse: touching a corpse and killing somebody, right? Without touching them. So just touching means that you're connected to that person. So also when it means someone who killed, right, by not touching, that didn't touch but killed, means that there's a connection. It means it can't be an arrow, because an arrow doesn't connect you to the person, right? It leaves you. It's not connected. You're not connected to the person. So you don't become impure by shooting an arrow and killing somebody. Shooting an arrow and killing somebody, you don't become impure because you're not connected. But if you take a sword, right, and you killed somebody with the sword, you touch that person. So therefore, with the sword, because the arrow leaves you.
Leaves what you're touching.
Exactly. Okay. Next, Rashi v'tis chatu, and you shall become purified, cleansed. The me'mida with the water sprinkling. He didn't shard to Maasei, like the law of all impure that come in contact with they become impure because they come in contact with a corpse. Even according to the one who says that the graves of non-Jews that they do not transmit impurity when you're in a roofed area. That my flock, the flock of my pasture, Adam Atem. That refers to Adam, Adam, that refers to a Jew that becomes impure. In Adam and the nations are not, that term Adam is not used. But they agree, the non-Jews transmit impurity, but Maasei, that when you touch or carry them. Adam Ella Eitzel Tumas Ayalim, because the term Adam is only used by transmitting impurity by a tent. The point being, saying that if you're in a closed in closed place and you become impure, right? A tent or a building, that's only referring to a Jew, that you become impure if they were killed, right? If they died, but a non-Jew not. However, that's only in an enclosure. But a non-Jew, it transmits impurity by touch, by touch or by carrying. So in this case, because of killing, so they were affected. Okay, atem
The idea that we're not supposed to be going to a non-Jewish cemetery.
and then that's not something that has to do with that. No, that's not related to this. That's here it's talking about becoming impure, right? So a non
become impure by walking through
right. Okay.
Jewish cemetery.
I mean, we're all impure in any case, right? If you're a kohen, so then there's an issue maybe, right?
So in other words, if I wanted to walk, for argument's sake.
No, there's an issue. Yeah, non-Jewish, that's a different story. Anyway, you know what I really it's not related over here. It's not related over here. No. Atamishvisa. You and your captives. Not that non-Jews receive impurity, but non-Jews do not. We become impure through a non-Jew, but a non-Jew themselves don't become impure when they come in contact with a corpse that requires tzrichim hazah, that they need sprinkling of the red heifer. Right? That's only a law for a Jew that they have to. Right? Ella, but rather matem ubenei bris, just as members of the covenant of shvischem. So to your captives, because you're libris, when they come in the covenant, mitamu, then they would become impure. Tzrichim hazah, then they would need to become. Interesting. In other words, only if they become Jewish. It's interesting. These captives over here, they could become, they could convert and become Jewish. That's what it sounds like from. Okay. Chol beged, chol kli or. Now, that was about the person becoming impure, right? Coming in contact with death. Now, all garments, kol beged means all garments. Kli or means leather articles. Anything that's a product of a goat or anything that's a wooden article. These chatu, they have to go through purification. Whole maise izim lahavi kli kernayim atlovim atzomas. Was it saying any goat product? It says all garments. Right? Okay, to include also horns, hooves, and bones. They also have to be purified. Yeah. And that's what it means, Maasei, the term, right? And Elazar, the Kohen, said to the men of the army, to the soldiers, in other words, they are coming to battle. This is the statute of the Torah, Asher Tziva Hashem es Moshe, that Hashem commanded Moshe. Rashi 21. Elazar Kohen said, why is Elazar saying this? Why not Moshe? And so Rashi says, because came to the category of anger, Moshe. Therefore, he came to the category of error. That the laws of purging the vessels, right, that by non-Jews was concealed from him. This is the law of koshering, by the way. We're learning now the laws of koshering, right? Because when they took booty from the non-Jews, these vessels, they were not kosher because they cooked with them non-kosher stuff. So now we're going to learn the laws of how to make it kosher. Purging the vessels, right? From and similarly, you find that it happened on the 8th day of the inauguration of Aaron and his sons in the priesthood. It says that Moshe was upset with Elazar and Isamar. He came to the category of anger. It's interesting. Rashi says, be very exacting in the words of Rashi. He doesn't say he became angry. He came to the category of anger, right? In other words, we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. It's not anger like we know anger, right? That we get upset. No, to the category of anger. It's a different sort. He became also to the category of error. Category of error, not like he made an error. Doesn't make an error. Similarly, we see when he said, now listen, rebels, and therefore he struck the rock rather than speaking to it. So likewise, thereby the anger that he demonstrated speaking to the Jews. As Hashem commanded Moshe, he ascribed this ruling to his master, to Moshe. It's not his ruling, it's God's ruling. Okay, what's the ruling? About now koshering. This is koshering laws. Okay. Only. What's only? I'm just going to pick up on that. All right. It's a zov, there's a kesef, the gold and the silver. There's a nacheshus and the copper. There's a barzil, the iron. There's a bedil, the tin. There's a ifaris and the lead. Rashi, what's achach? Only. Even though Moshe only warned them with regard to laws of impurity, there's also asked to warn them on the laws of purging the non-kosher that's permeated into the vessels. And the word ach is an expression of exclusion. Koloimer, what's exclusion over here? That you exclude from using the vessels, and even after you purify them, from the impurity of the corpse. In other words, that they become purified, right? That means the idea of going to mikvah. Here it's the idea of purification because they're from the red heifer, achi taru, until they become purified, from the absorption of that which is prohibited In other words, non-kosher stuff that's forbidden food inside of the vessels. In other words, you got to do that first. Rabbi Seinu Amru and our sages have said, so that's a simple meaning. Only do this first, then you can purify it from the impurities that it came in contact with a corpse. Rabbi Seinu Amru, but our sages said, it says only the gold. That's intelligent. You have to remove the rust. If you can't kosher something that has rust on it, you have to remove the rust. Then you can kosher it from what's purged inside of it. Before you purge it, that's what it means. Exclusion only. Shouldn't be there any rust. But the metal should be only pure in its pure state. Okay. Two meanings of the word ach there. 23. Kol davar asher yavod ba'esh, anything that comes in fire, tavira ba'esh, you should remove it by fire. B'toher, and then it'll become pure. But yet, in the waters of the sprinkling waters, it needs to be cleansed. Right. In other words, after you remove, then you have to. Right, that's the sprinkling oil waters because it's impure. And anything that does not go through, in other words, it's not cooked through fire, in other words, like a grill, right? But it's through the medium of water. Then taviru, you should pass it through water. You should put it into boiling hot water to purge it from what's not kosher inside of it. Got that? Let's see Rashi. Rashi will explain to us. 23. Anything that comes through fire, to cook anything with it that's with fire, to be raised, you should pass through fire in order. The way you purge it is the way it was used. That which it was that which was cooking through hot water. Then you purge it through hot water. That which it was used through roasting. Like a spit, the ascola or a grill, you should use white hot fire to purge it. But it must be purified with the waters of sprinkling. Simple meaning means that this sprinkling in Torah is performed to purify mitumas mace from the impurity that comes in contact because of a corpse. Right, not because of what's inside of it, not which is purged inside of it. Right, separate thing. Omar lehem, Elazar said to them, the vessels need to be purged, the Tanamina Isra, to purify them from that which is forbidden. The Chituin, they need sprinkling, the Tanamina Tuma, to purify them from the impurity of coming in contact with a corpse. That's a simple meaning. But our sages here, they expound from here. That to render them fit, fully cleansed from prohibition, itian tvila is necessary the immersion in the mikvah, lekli matachos, for metal vessels. Meinida ksuvim kan. It says was sprinkling waters over here. What does that mean? Right, it doesn't sound like a mikvah. It sounds like you got a sprinkle, which is a red heifer. Darshu, they interpret it to mean mayim aruim litfol bahem nida, waters that are fit for a woman who has got a menstrual cycle, that she immerses herself in that. And what is that? Arbaim saw, which is the 40 saw of a mikvah. In other words, the word over here, right, that it says may nida. So we translated it as sprinkling waters. That's a simple meaning. Our sages say, no, it's the waters of the woman who has got the menstrual cycle. That's the waters it needs to go in to become purified. What's that? That's a mikvah, as opposed to the sprinkling of the red heifer.
That means dishes go into the mikvah and pots and pans go into in fire, in the oven.
No, everything goes to there's two separate things. One is from impurity, one is from what's purged inside of it. Right? When you put something hot in here, so it's purged inside of here, you got to get what's purged inside of here. So you got to do it. If it was water like this, so then you use water. If the medium was direct heat, so then you got to use direct heat. Right? That's to get out what's caught in the vessel. But now there's an impurity to the vessel because it came in contact because of the impurity. Two types of impurity. One is because it came in contact with a corpse. Another one because it belonged to the non-Jew, right? So it's two separate things. Our verse is speaking about two things over here. Okay.
So how do you purify it if it belonged to a non-Jew?
Mikvah.
Mikvah.
How do you purify it? How do you purify it became in contact with corpse? Sprinkling.
Sprinkling.
Right. Two separate things.
Well, so what is that sprinkling?
Well, the red heifer sprinkling.
And today?
Well, today we don't have that.
The red heifer.
So it's just, well, listen, if we're impure, our vessels for sure could be impure. Right? Our vessels for sure. We're impure. We're all impure. So our vessels for sure could be impure. That's not an issue. Remember, 1 second.
There's no way to become pure to be in contact with death.
Well, 1 second. Let me give context to what it means, though. Let me give context. Even back in the day, where the vessels to be pure, that's only if you were taking it to Jerusalem and eating your Maasei Sheni from it. You needed pure vessels. But to eat breakfast on a daily basis, if you're not a kohen, even if you're a kohen, but they preferably not. But 1 second. Listen, please. Please. If you were eating breakfast right now in the times of the Holy Temple, not in Jerusalem, but eating in Tiberias, in Tzfas, in wherever, right? You don't have to be pure. You're not obliged to be pure. When you go to the Holy Temple for the holidays or for whatever thing you're going for, you need to be pure when you're going on Temple Mount and you're bringing it. So then you need a pure vessel, right? Then you need a pure vessel. That's it. Simple. Okay, let's move on. So we got to finish over here. Okay. But what we do have from here today is the second point that we just learned, that because it belonged to a non-Jew, to now come from the non-Jewish domain to a Jewish domain, to a holy domain, right? So therefore you have to put into the mikvah. Separate thing.
You have to put it into a
mikvah. But that's not because of impurity of corpse. Transferring ownership.
Separate from
everything that comes into a fire, that's a separate thing. That's today, that we have today. Everything that does not come into fire, anything that's not used or through fire, kigoyim kaisis, like cups, like we just supposed, it's sluchis in jars, that are used in cold water, and there is no absorption in it of anything forbidden. Tavir b'mayim, pass it through waters, matbiloi, and then immerse it in the mikvah, v'dayo, and that's enough. V'dafke kli matochas, and this is only with metal vessels. Okay, 24. We're going to truck a bit so we can finish. And you should wash your garments. Now this is because your garments are impure because it came in contact with corpse, right? And do that on the seventh day. And afterwards you can come into the camp. What does it mean to come into the camp? Rashi 24. What do you mean to the camp? It's three camps, meaning to come into the Shechina, right? Because someone's impure because they came in contact with the corpse doesn't require to them that they have to go out of the Levite encampment or Machne Israel or for the Israelite encampment. Remember, it's only when you're going to do something holy. That's why you need to become holy by getting spritzed by the red heifer, right? So here you're not only you need it, but your clothes also need it. But that's only because you're going to go do something holy in the holy temple or in the Shechina encampment. Yom Hashem al Moshe Lemar, Hashem said to Moshe, saying, "So Naz Reisha Malkaya Hashem Ba'odam Behema Adam Allah Zavekayim Rashi Avisaida." Take count of the plunder, right, of the captive people and the animals, and you together with Allah with the Kohen and the paternal leaders of the community. So it's Reish Kachas Cheshbon. Make a tally. That's what it means. Make a tally of all the spoils of war. and you shall divide the plunder with those who went out to war. Went out to battle, with the entire congregation, right? Half. 12,000 get half, and the rest of the Jewish people get the other half, right? 27 Rashi, divide the plunder between those who undertook the battle. Half for these, half to these. 28. And you can you should raise up a meches is a levy, a tax. Oh, sorry, Harimoisa is levy, a tax. La Hashem for God. From the men who went to battle, who went to war. Echad nefesh, every soul, from 500, mina adam of people, right? That remember they took captives, right? Omina bakar, and from the cattle, omina chamein, from the donkeys, omina tzayin. In other words, 1 out of 500. What's that? 0.2%. 0.2%.
500?
1 of 500 is 0.2%, right?
22%.
What 0.2%?
0.2%.
Right? And take half and give half of that, right? So Allah gets half of that. Right. And now that's from those who went out to battle. Take 1 in 500, right? From the half that belongs to the children of Israel, you should take 1 out of 50. That is 2%, right? 10 times more of the cattle, the donkeys, the sheep, and the animals, and you should give them to the Levites and the guardians of the Mishkan of Hashem. They go to the Levites, right? Allah, Moshe, 31, Bias, Moshe, Allah, Kayin, Kasher, Tziva, Hashem is Moshe, and Moshe, Allah, the Kayin did as Hashem commanded Moshe, V'yim al Kayach, Yeser Habaz, and the plunder was in addition to the spoils, Shabazuam, Hatzava, the spoils that the army had taken, plundered, so in Sheish Meos Elev, Yeshima Elev, Chamesh Alafim.
What's
I'm not clear. I don't know. Let's see Rashi. I was thinking the same thing. So it was 675,000 sheep. Whoa. 600,075. Whoa. Well, let's hear Rashi. It's Rashi 32. The plunder beyond the spoils was since they were not commanded to set aside a tribute, mina metalton, from the inanimate movable objects, elamina malkayach, rather from the plunder, meaning human captives and animals. Kosovo as Lashon Hazeh, so Torah wrote these words, malkayach, the plunder that is sheba lichlal chaluka, which comes into the framework of division, chal mechas, comes into the tax that they have to give. Which is over and above the spoils of the inanimate movable objects. Aha.
It's silver and gold.
Yeah, exactly. Which the people, the army took as spoils, each man for himself, but it did come into the framework of division, of that which was the flock and so on. Ah, interesting. Interesting. So 72,000 cattle, and 61,000 donkeys. And the people of women who did not experience intimate relations with the man also were 32,000. And the half of the portion that went out to battle, the number of sheep was 337, 16,500. And the tax for Hashem for the sheep was 675 because they only got 1/500th. Remember, from those who went out to right. And the 6,000 cattle, the tax was 72. And 30,500 donkeys, of which the tax was 61. Nefesh Adam Shisha Asar Ela Michsam LaHashem Shnayim Shloshim Nefesh, and 16,000 people, in which the tax Hashem was 32 people. Yitan Moshe as Michsam L'Shumus Hashem, and Moshe gave the tax of the gift of Hashem to Elazar the Kohen, as Hashem had commanded Moshe. Hashem LaElazar the Kohen Kasher Tzibah Hashem. Next, it's Bnei Israel. That was from those who went to battle. Now it's from the half that went to the children of Israel, which was 10 times more, right? And Maasei from the half that was a lot of Bnei Israel to the children of Israel, as Moshe divided in half, Anashim Matzava, that was divided in half, right, from those who went out to battle. In other words, the ones who didn't go out to battle, right, from them. But Maasei's Rashi. Excuse me. For the congregation, on behalf of the community, for he took it from the men who had gone out to war. The team is and 37,500 sheep. Right? So yeah, the Mechs is and such is the accounting. 36,000 cattle, and 30,000 rather 500 donkeys, and 16,000 people. The Yikach Moshe Bnei Israel, and Moshe took half of from that which was of the children of Israel, is Achuz Echem v'Chamishim, their percentage, which was 1 in 50, Mina Adam, from man, from a behema, from animal, Yitin Oisam Levim, and he gave it to the Levites, Shemim Mishmeres, who are the guardians of the Mishkan of the sanctuary Hashem. Kasher Tziva Hashem is Moshe, as Moshe was commanded by Hashem, Bikach Moshe, and he took
the whole cheshbon of what was taken from the troops, right?
Yeah.
And there's a cheshbon of exactly how much was taken. But when it comes to the part for the community, they can say it was 1 in 50 and don't make anything.
Yeah. Yes. I think there's a sikh on that, if I recall. Or something on it. And the officers appointed over the armies of thousands and commanders of thousands, commanders of hundreds, approached Moshe, Avikudim, Hamamunim, those were appointed. Okay.
Number 81.
I'm on 49. 49. But we're going to stop over here because we're going to do Tanya. Yeah. Okay. Okay. But Yomiru El Moshe Avadecha Nasu Israelisha Anche Melchama Asher B'Yadena V'Leif Kadem Yimena V'Yish. And they said to Moshe, your servants counted the soldiers who went out, who were in our charge, and not one man is missing from us. Can you imagine? They went to battle, not a single person's missing. Wow. Like Nifkat Rashi. Amazing. Amen. Like Nifkat, like Nechsa, not missing. Tekamu Shaga. Like I will bear a loss. Talking with the Havas Shagia, I mean, Yona, Uncle says absent in the total. which means that you're a place you're missing in something in your place. A person who usually sits there. Assuming it means David's place was found lacking. That no one sat there. The Nakri is Korban Hashem, and therefore they brought an offering to Hashem. Ish Asher Matzah Kol Zav. They brought an offering to any man who found the gold article, the Tzadena v'Tamid v'Tabas Ogel v'Kumas v'Chaper Nafsheschem Lifnei Hashem. They had a gold article, or an anklet, or a bracelet, a ring, an earring, a body ornament to atone for the souls before Hashem. Rashi, it's Mada, it's Ada, Eila Tvin Regel. Those are ankle bracelets. Tzamid Shel Yad, those are hand bracelets. Ogel, Nizmei Oizen, the earrings. Kumas, those are female genitals, genitalia. In other words, they protected themselves from sinning back in the day. Moshe and Aaron, they took the Kohen took the gold articles from them. He calls Truma Shetarimu LaHashem Shisha Asar Elef Hishma Meos V'Chamishim Shekel Meis Shari Alafim Sari Meos, and the gold gift that was dedicated to Hashem amounted to 16,750 shekel. Which was the commanders and thousands of the commanders and the hundreds. The soldiers had seized spoils for themselves. Wow. They did this on their own. They were commanded to do this. Right. On their own, they did this. Because not a Jew was lacking. Wow, look at that. Unbelievable.
It's usually leaders take more for themselves.
Right.
Than the people who
what a lesson to teach the giving it. Just
keep whatever plunder
yeah.
belong to them.
And the leaders,
soldiers, the generals of the soldiers say, we want to thank Hashem that everybody came back alive. And
that who were responsible for all came back.
We want to donate.
Whoa. Moshe and Elazar took the gold from the commanders of thousands and hundreds and brought it to the tent of meeting to remember the children of Israel before Hashem. Wow. Is that powerful or what? That's amazing.